All right, everyone, I am live. Took a moment to get started, but I am here. So give me a second. Let the people over on my original YouTube channel know that I am live here. I'm seeing my signal icon. Unfortunately, I don't get the internet. I don't get how this works, but give me a second and I will start. And also, good morning to everyone over on Facebook, whoever is seeing this and seeing me talk. This is an open basketball hangout. Yep, it's live over there. Okay, see one person is looking at me. Okay, so I have my my ad is running over there on the channel in front of the stream. And yes, of course, I look granular and artificial. Give me a sec. I might end up just going with the avatar for this one. On the sports channel, I think people like to actually see you. So bear with me for a second. I'm going to take a look at Facebook because sometimes when this thing is happening, when this reception, this granular thing is happening through, it looks good on Facebook for some reason, but it can look granular over on YouTube. Let me take a quick look at Facebook here. Yeah, it looks better on Facebook. I don't get this. Why is it doing that? Could be the heat. It could be the heat. Let's see. Abdul Gain says, I didn't know you shared a name with the man that shattered the rim with yet another late game free throw attempt. Abdul Gaines is trash talking early. Why is that doing that? Okay. I think we've just got to bear with it. Guys, give me 1 second here. I want to do this with the best possible picture that I can. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop the camera. This is so annoying. So very annoying. That's funny. When I go away, it's better. And when I come back, the signal goes down to the one bar. I think. All right, guys. I'm gonna do this Manosphere style, at least until I can get a nice connection here, which means I'm going to switch over to an avatar. So for those watching this on Facebook, you won't see my face. You'll see a picture. It's fine. We take you the way you are. Okay, I'm just a stickler for details, and I want to look, I want to look professional and good while I'm on camera. And what I'm seeing right here, I'm not enjoying that. Give me 1 second, and I'll go ahead and start. It looks better over on Facebook, but I'm going to switch this to the actual channel. Actually, no. Let me share this on my community tab so people know that I'm doing this. This was working fine on Friday. All right, hey guys, let's just go ahead and jump in. And maybe you guys are seeing, maybe it looks better out there to you guys than it does look to me on my PC. I'm looking at myself on Facebook. Yeah, that looks a little better. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump in. So guys, as you can see, welcome. This is another open basketball hangout. And as you can see, I'm not wearing the Clippers gear. I'm wearing the Detroit Pistons. I have quite a few T-shirts in my closet, and I have like 3 older Detroit Pistons T-shirts because I was at the University of Michigan when the Pistons last won the title. That was 2004. So Michigan didn't win any Big Ten titles or didn't win the BCS, but being in southeastern Michigan at that time, the Pistons did win, so that was a big deal for the region. So I promised Abdul Gaines that we would do some a little bit of Laker history, this morning, and so with the Detroit Pistons franchise being in the news a little bit, we're going to go ahead and do some Pistons/Lakers history. So let's start with this. So most of you guys know that growing up, I was an first of all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76 Sports. First of all, please like the stream, please share it, and please subscribe. Okay, so most of you guys know that I grew up as an MJ guy. So I grew up watching Michael Jordan and being a fan of Michael Jordan, especially when the Bulls went on their ascent. And so, we know that Mike and the Bulls eventually went on to 2 three-peats, 6 titles. But what stood in their way initially were the bad boy Detroit Pistons. And so my early experiences watching basketball were enjoyable, seeing Michael hit the shot, but also they were kind of traumatized by seeing the Detroit Pistons knock Michael to the floor repeatedly and over and over and over again, and seeing Michael try to make his artistic and graceful moves, and just seeing him go into the lane and get knocked to the ground by Bill Laimbeer and the Pistons. So early on, I'm saying this to say that I did not rock with the Pistons. As a matter of fact, I hated the Pistons. But when I moved to southeastern Michigan, they were the local team, so I kind of embraced them. So I'm going to go over two Pistons stories before I open it up to anyone else today. And the first one, but before I do, I thought back to that 2014, and I dug up some pictures because I told Abdul Gaines that we'd go over some Laker history, and part of Laker history is them losing in the 2004 NBA Finals to the Detroit Pistons. So this is the team right here. These are the 2004 Detroit Pistons. That team, speaking of which, that team was coached initially by Rick Carlisle, who has been coaching the Dallas Mavericks. I think it was Rick Carlisle, who has been coaching the Dallas Mavericks and has now moved on to another team, which I'll discuss. But Joe Dumars eventually got Rick Carlisle out of there and brought in legendary coach Larry Brown. And so that team, while talented, it had Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton and Ben Wallace, and who else started? There was Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince. Right. Tayshaun Prince. They made a trade that season for Rasheed Wallace. And then once Rasheed Wallace came on, the lineup was pretty much complete. And while they fell short the previous couple of years, that team marched all the way to the NBA Finals, where they met up with the 2004 Los Angeles, the 2003, 2004 Los Angeles Lakers. And this was arguably one of the first super teams. You know, you think about the Miami Heat, you think about the Golden State Warriors, you think about this year, the Brooklyn Nets. And you think about all these different things when you think about super teams, but this was arguably the first super team. The Lakers that year, they signed, they already had Shaq and Kobe, but they also went ahead and signed Gary Payton, the glove, and they signed Karl Malone, the mailman. And so I think the prediction was that Laker team would go ahead and win the championship that year. I mean, how could you not win the NBA title with Kobe Bryant, Shaq, Gary Payton, and Karl the mailman Malone? I'll ask you that, Abdul Gaines. How could you not win the title with those four Hall of Famers on your team starting for you? Well, it turned out that there were a couple of reasons why they did not win the title that year. Kobe being Bryant, may he rest in peace. We know that he got embroiled in some legal trouble out in Colorado that season. And looking at what happened, I remember all that going on. It's actually a miracle that Kobe was actually able to play through all of that, because it was on the news every day. I think he had to keep flying back out to Colorado in between games to take care of those legal troubles. So that was going on. And then Gary Payton. I specifically remember Gary Payton not being able to or not adjusting well to the triangle offense. That, of course, was Phil Jackson's signature offense that he won with in Chicago. So he had problems adjusting to that. And I think that there were just overall chemistry issues with that team. I think Shaq, Kobe and Shaq had been beefing for a number of years regarding who should be the leader of the team, who should get the most shots, those kinds of things. That eventually came to a head. I think Shaq thought Kobe was shooting the ball too much and he was not getting enough touches. And so those kinds of things were going on. The team eventually made it to the conference final and then to the NBA final, where they matched up with the Detroit Pistons, who again were not a lock to get to the NBA finals. It was a bit of a Cinderella story. And in 5 games, the Pistons knocked off the Lakers in 5 games. They went out to the Staples Center. They stole the first game. I remember watching that and thinking that the Lakers might maul them, but the Pistons, they weren't afraid of the Lakers. They came out ready to play. Chauncey Billups hit shots. Rip Hamilton hit shots. Tayshaun Prince hit shots. Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace didn't back down from Shaq or any of those front court players the Lakers had. And they stood up to the Lakers on their home turf, and they won game 1. And then Luke Walton hit that late 3-pointer to win game 2. And then the Pistons won the rest of the games. And they went on and became the NBA World Champions, which, again, for no one would have expected it. But and they were a bit of a Cinderella team. But for all of us living in southeastern Michigan at that time, it was kind of cool to see that. But it was also unfortunate to see the Lakers melt down like that. And historically, I would attribute that Pistons win to not only them playing above themselves, but also the Lakers also imploding to a large degree. So championships are like that sometimes. Sometimes one team is decisively better, and sometimes the situation arises where the other team has difficulties. I remember Karl Malone was also playing on one leg that season as well, especially during the finals. So things just worked out just right for that Pistons team, and they were competitive for the next couple of years. I think they got back the next year, and they lost to San Antonio. So they had their window, but eventually, LeBron came, and eventually the Pistons got older. And this was a defensive team. It wasn't a team that was going to blow you up by 30 points. And eventually their window closed, and Joe Dumars dismantled the team. He traded away Chauncey Billups. He eventually traded away Rip Hamilton. And that I think Tayshaun Prince was the only one left after a while. And then eventually Larry Brown left and went over to the New York Knicks. So that's how that happens sometimes. So what I'm going to do, since I'm still having my reception thing, guys, give me a second. I'm going to switch over and do this manosphere style. And I'm going to switch over to an avatar. Give me 1 second here. Stop camera. And I'm going to change out. And I think since I named myself Paul George for this one, Okay. Mute. Give me 1 second here. Actually, no, I'll just do this. Edit audio avatar. Let me dilute. Let me delete him. Yeah. So since I'm having these camera issues today, I'm going to go with the avatar in this manosphere style. And today, since I named myself Paul George, I'm going to be Paul George. So, PG-13. And since I know Paul George is one of Abdul Gaines' favorite players, that's all the more reason to be Paul George. So, a few things, and then I want to open this up and let any of you other guys come in. I only have 5 here. I thought some more people might come over from my original channel, but I'll give it a little bit longer and see what happens. The Pistons. So speaking of the Pistons, first of all, let's talk about Mr. Big Shot, who was on that 2004 championship team, Chauncey Billups. It looks like Chauncey Billups is going to be the new head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. So we have some movement going on there. So Mr. Big Shot is going to be the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. I think this might be his first head coaching gig. Some of you guys out there can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So the other news regarding the Pistons, or news surrounding the Pistons, see Abdul Gaines is trash talking there in the chat. We'll get to that in a second. But the other news surrounding the Pistons is that the Pistons have the Pistons won they won because it's a lottery. The Pistons had the #1 draft pick for the 2021 NBA draft. So I haven't kept a close eye on them this season, but apparently they played themselves into one of the lower teams of the league, and they are the recipient of the #1 pick. Let's see who's picking #2. The Houston's #2, Cleveland's #3, Toronto's #4, Orlando's 5, Oklahoma City 6, and Golden State is 7. Looks like Golden State also has the 14th pick as well. Orlando is 8, Sacramento is 9. The New Orleans Pelicans are 10. Let's see, Charlotte is number 11. San Antonio is 12, and Indiana is 13. But I wanted to share this to show that the Pistons had the #1 pick. So I'm going to stop my screen share here. I have 2 more things to get to. Then, since I know he wants to talk about it, I'm just going to briefly go over last night's Clipper loss. Bear with me for 1 moment here. All right. Other news. So we know that Rick Carlisle, who again, at one point, I believe, did coach the Pistons before Joe Dumars let him go for Larry Brown. Rick Carlisle spent a number of years in Dallas. He led them to 1 title, which was over the Heatles, LeBron, D. Wade, Chris Bosh, those guys, their first year forming Voltron. They got beaten by Dirk, Jason Terry, Josh Howard, and those guys. And Rick Carlisle stayed with Dallas for the next 10 years. He stepped down from Dallas after they lost to the Clippers this season. And it turns out that he has resurfaced with the Indiana Pacers. Oh, geez. Technical difficulties all around. Let me try that again. Okay, there we go. If at first you don't succeed, try again. So it looks like Rick Carlisle has resurfaced with the Pacers. I don't know if his former teammate with the Boston Celtics, Larry Bird, had anything to do with that. But he has resurfaced with the Pacers. So that didn't take long. He's probably negotiating that with them either shortly after they got eliminated or probably during, because that's the way jobs work. Normally, the person is in discussions with where they want to, the team or the organization they want to go to, and then they make that leap afterwards. So Rick Carlisle's going over to the Pacers. Let's see. And I think that's it. So since Abdul Gaines wants to talk about Paul George and the Clippers, let's talk about what happened last night. Last night, the Clippers were looking to tie up the series with the Phoenix Suns, who I believe are the number 2 seed in the West. But now that Utah was eliminated, they're the top seed. Here we go. There we go. So the final score of last night's game was 84-80. And Phoenix. So Phoenix went up 3-1. I'm just going to take a quick look at the stats. Phoenix won the first and the second quarters, and they won the fourth quarter. The Clippers stormed back in the third quarter, only to fall short 84-80. And what's interesting, I was at the casino last night. I just won some money, and I was sitting there watching the game. And what I was looking for, and I know Abdul Gaines is gonna have some fun with this, but what I was looking for was for Paul George to take the game over. What I was looking for was for Paul George to assert himself down the stretch of that game, especially since Kawhi Leonard is out. He is now the number 1 guy, but he looked indecisive, a little too deferential, and just a little too non-star-like. And early on in that game, you could see that the Clippers were having a hard time making shots. But again, I was looking for Paul to step up and assert himself. And I know the game is played differently than it was when MJ and those guys were young and in their primes. But I was really looking for Paul to step up and do something. And he missed those 2 free throws at the end of game 2, and they found themselves in position to try to make 1 free throw and then get the rebound and get a 2. The first time they got to the line, he missed that first free throw. So while Paul George is uber talented, he's 6'7", he's versatile. He can handle the ball, he can shoot the ball, he can defend. Sometimes he doesn't seem like he's an alpha. He has that potential, but he doesn't always seem to rise to the occasion. Let's see. I'm going to read some comments here. Let's see. I'm going to go back. LeBron would be skewered if he were sitting up in the suite during a crucial playoff game. Good morning, big homie. Thank you, Peanut Butter Hero, for being here. I might have to move to Phoenix if they win. LOL. It's fine. We take you the way you are. Thank you. That's about the reception I was getting today. I'm really going to have to troubleshoot this in the future. Abdul Gaines says, here we go. If you rooted for the Lakers like we told you to in the first place, you wouldn't be having technical difficulties you're experiencing right now. Oh, geez. That's bad karma. Peanut Butter Hero says, Ben Wallace Pistons. Abdul Gaines says, go Suns, go. Peanut Butter Hero says, Richard Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey. That was my childhood. Yep. Abdul Gaines says, George Paul has been pushing off the entire series, and these corrupt refs have refused to call it on the regular. It's so great to see the Suns overcome biased officiating to have a 3-1 series lead. He thinks there's some conspiracy against the Lakers. MJ beat a bunch of tomato cans and one-man bands in the finals, and in the East, post Bad Boys. Kobe beat far better teams to get to the finals than MJ. LeBron beat far better teams in the NBA finals than MJ. MJ is the MJ of bad owners. The Bad Boys are my second favorite singular NBA team. Like Shaq has said in recent years, the 2004 finals was a scrimmage. It wasn't a real final series. The luckiest title ever won in NBA history was the 2004 Pistons team. Okay, so you're saying there's an asterisk next to that title, just like there's an asterisk next to the 2020 Lakers bubble title win. The Lakers have won 3 titles since the Pistons last won a title. He's on a roll here. The history of the Lakers is majestic. The history of the Clown Clips can be shown with rainbow bars on the screen and a buzzing sound in the background. I'm not sure what that means. The woman lied on Kobe. Him being lied on and playing at the level he did shows how mentally tough Kobe is. Yeah, it was amazing to see him do that. Dante says, good topic, Doc. Lakers got a little quick. Dante says, Pistons proved it wasn't a fluke there with the run afterwards. Abdul Gaines says, why didn't Paul George blow a kiss after missing that late game free throw last night? Portland would be Chauncey's first head coaching job. Peanut Butter Hero says, Indy 500 is the only thing good about Indianapolis. Abdul Gaines says, unkempt Patrick Beverly masquerades as a good defender. He's not a good defender. He's an unkempt irritant. Running around clapping doesn't make a good defender. Peanut Butter Hero says, did you go to MGM National Harbor? I want to go there. I go to DC about once a month to get carts because it's legalized there and not North Carolina. I was at the Maryland Live Casino. I was up that way in Arundel Mills last night, and I played the Quick Trip. The Quick Hit. Their slot machines their penny slots called Quick Hit slot machines, and I played those. And I put $20 in, and I was able to bet it up to 167. And then I decided I'd bet it back. I'd bet $30 back, and hoping I'd win big again. And I bet it back down to 127, and I cashed out. Abdul Gaines, number 2, thought Paul George was a better running mate than AD. And then finally, there's no asterisk on our 2020 title. Okay, so last night's game. Let's see how Paul George did. Let's look at the statistics of the game. Okay, if you're new coming in, please like the stream. I'm going to stop talking in a minute. I have a small crowd here, but if anyone wants to come in and talk, I'll keep it open a little bit longer to do that. If the crowd swells, I'll keep it going a little bit longer. And we could talk about the playoffs. We could talk about who the GOAT is, whatever. But if you're new coming in, please like the stream. Okay. So for the Suns, they were led by Devin Booker. That kid is really good. DeAndre Ayton. Devin Booker had 25. DeAndre Ayton had 19. And Chris Paul had 18. So they had three players in double figures. And then for the Clippers, same deal, only three players in double figures. Paul George led the team with 23. Reggie Jackson was next with 20. And then Terrence Mann had 12. I think the game was right there for Clippers to take, but they just couldn't hit shots. And that could have been because the Suns were defending them that much better. But I thought that the game was right there for them to take. And you see games like that where one team just needs to make shots and they can win the game. But the Clippers, they couldn't get on a roll last night, and Phoenix walked out of there with a W. Let's see if they have the let's see if they have the percentages. So the field goal percentage. Yeah, that was about even. Phoenix shot 36%. The Clippers shot 33%. Phoenix shot 20% from three-point range. The Clippers shot 16% from three-point range. But this is very telling right here, and this is what we saw at the end of the game, partially from PG-13. The Suns went 85.7% from the free throw line, and the Clippers went 65.6% from the free throw line. Yeah, against a good team, you're not going to win going 65% from the free throw line. So the Clippers, even right there, they left way too many points on the board right there, those free throws. Total rebounds, 59 versus 51. 17 offensive rebounds versus 15. Assists, 16 versus 13. The Suns had a few more blocks. Steals were even. Turnovers were even. Points in the paint were close. So I think looking at this, the story of last night's game looks like it was on the free throw line. It looks like it was on the free throw line. So, and my high school coach used to say, for what it's worth, I'm writing a book about this, games are won and lost on the free throw line. So, so there we are. And against the number 2 seed, even when you're trying to defend the Staples Center, because the Lakers aren't there to defend it either, you can't shoot 65% from the free throw line. So that was last night's game. So now the Clippers have to see if they have any magic left. Can they go down to Phoenix and steal the game 5 and bring it back to the Staples Center, or will this be it for the Clippers? I know what Abdul Gaines thinks, and I know what Abdul Gaines wants to happen, but let's see if the Clippers can go down there and steal a game. Just about every time this postseason, when they seem to be down for the count, they've found a way to come back. So Abdul Gaines says the Clown Clips went 0 for 12 from the field on shots to tie or take the lead in the fourth quarter. Vintage Clown Clips. I swore I saw Benoit Benjamin out there. If you're a millennial, Gen Zer, or what's the next one after Gen Z? Gen Alpha. Benoit Benjamin was a 7-footer for the Clippers in the 80s from Creighton. And he didn't turn out to be a quality pro. So he's the butt of jokes regarding the Clippers. Let's see. Kareem Austin says, good morning, everyone. Thank you for stopping through, Kareem. Abdul Gaines says the Clown Clips are not winning 3 straight games against Phoenix, especially having to win 2 of them in Phoenix. Okay, we have the prediction right there from our resident super fan. Wolf says, I'm sorry I'm late, by the way. I love the background image. To me, the 80s was the best era of basketball. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. That was the golden age, in my opinion. So that was last night's game. So let's see if the Clippers can survive a little bit longer. And then, so later on tonight, it looks like at 8 p.m., we're going back to the East. 8:30. Yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks are headed down to Wakanda. Wakanda is a joke for Atlanta. So the Bucks are going down to Atlanta for Game 3 in that series. And that series right now is split. So that Eastern series, I think that could go either way. I think chances are the Suns will probably eliminate the Clippers. I mean, the Clippers are missing Kawhi, so that's a major piece missing. Even though they have been able to keep the games close, but Paul George, and I like PG-13. He's got a beautiful stroke. He's a versatile player, but at times he doesn't seem to step into that number one spot the way that they need him to step in. So I think Phoenix advances, and I think my prediction is I'll take Atlanta over Milwaukee to win the series. But that's all I got, guys. We're at 43 minutes. The link is actually right there below the stream, but I'll drop the StreamYard link in the chat. Let me turn off my Bluetooth speaker first and then turn my manual speakers on because I don't know what that's going to sound like. Okay, so those are not talking. Let me turn on my manual speakers. Herb says, bring in football, LOL. I'm going to drop the link. If some of you guys want to come up and say something about last night's game or anything basketball related, you're welcome to come up. And if a group comes up, I'll hang out for a little while. If not, then I will shut it down as Dr. Dunbar has lots and lots to do. So, okay, now it looks like my signal is becoming stable. If my signal stays stable, maybe I'll stay Paul George. Maybe I'll continue to be Paul George for the duration of this stream. So the link is right there in the chat, guys. If anyone wants to come up, this is an open basketball hangout. You can talk about your thoughts on last night's game. You can talk about your predictions for tonight's game. Actually, Peanut Butter Hero, no, I'm using Cox. Cox is the provider for, I'll say, the county that I live in Northern Virginia. And it's really a strange thing that with StreamYard, that in my wireless connection, sometimes it works really, really well. Like right now, it looks to be, for the most part, stable. And then there are times when the signal goes low and becomes unstable. So I don't know, but I am thinking about upgrades. I want to get a camera as opposed to using this camera on the PC. And I need to troubleshoot this connection issue so that it's reliable 90% of the time. Let's see. So we could talk about the playoffs. We could talk about who the GOAT is. Of course, you guys know I think Michael is the GOAT. Some of you guys think it's Kobe. Some of you guys think it's LeBron. We can cover pretty much anything because it's an open basketball hangout. Abdul Game says, super teams like the Clown Clips are alleged to win titles before year 2. The Clown Clips are not winning the title this year. In year 2 of their pathetic attempt to take over Los Angeles, Abdul Gaines was, as you guys know, he's a diehard Laker fan. He's very passionate about all sports that he takes an interest in, but I think he was particularly insulted when Kawhi Leonard came to Los Angeles and signed with the Clippers instead of signing with the Lakers. So if you sense tremendous vitriol against the Clippers, that's why. You know, I mean, after all, why would you come to Los Angeles and not sign with the Lakers? Who does that? Well, Kawhi Leonard did. And so, and Abdul Gaines actually came up with the name, the Clown Clips. I don't know how he came up with that. Maybe it was their colors. They're red, blue, and white. But yeah, he has nothing but contempt for the Clippers. The fact that they share the city, the fact that now they share the Staples Center, nothing but contempt for the Clippers. He says, these 2 years set up for the Clown Clips to win titles, and they have not gotten the job done. The refs, the state-run NBA media have been in their hip pocket, and they still fail. Okay, I see some new people coming in. Please hit the like. The Streamyard link is right there if someone wants to come in and give their 2 cents on last night's game, anything playoff related, anything basketball related, anything GOAT related, anything. This channel, I intentionally called it Big Discussions 76 Sports. I'm a University of Michigan alum, so I, in large part, grew the channel covering University of Michigan football, to some degree, Ohio State football, Big Ten football, because those are passionate fan bases. But I've been gradually trying to work more NBA, more basketball content in. So if you look at my catalog, you'll see the bulk of it is Michigan football, but you'll see basketball stuff kind of peppered in between that Michigan football, Ohio State football, and Big Ten football content. So if I got more subs over here who were basketball heads, that would compel me to create more basketball content. But that's how YouTube works. You got to follow. You have to pay attention to what your audience wants, in addition to what's trending. Okay, so we're at 49 minutes. I'll go just a little bit longer if no one else wants to come up, because, as I said, Dr. Dunbar has lots and lots to do. Let's see. Who do you guys, of the 4 teams left, you guys can tell me from the chat, who do you guys think is going to win this thing? Is it going to be the Suns? Do the Clippers find a way to scratch and claw their way back? Is it Atlanta, or is it Milwaukee? Why don't you guys let me know what you think there in the chat. The StreamYard link is there as well if someone wants to come up. Sometimes, yeah, it's there. Sometimes when you're in StreamYard and you share it to YouTube, sometimes YouTube doesn't show the link, but it's there in case someone wants to come up. If you're new, please hit the like. If you're new, if you're coming over from my original channel, please subscribe to this channel. Let's see. Well, for now, with a little bit of time left, if no one else comes up, yeah, I think very much that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. That, of course, is a shot. That is the picture of MJ after hitting the shot against Cleveland. in the, I believe that was the 1988-89 Eastern Conference quarterfinal. If you look at that picture, there's Craig Elo in the background collapsing. I think Craig Elo, if you watch that play, Michael caught the ball outside the three-point line, dribbled to the free throw line. And if you watch that, oh, here's the picture right here. You can see Craig Elo extending, trying to block the shot. And of course, we know that his airness got the shot off. It rattled in, and the rest is history. But I always thought, I know Abdul Gaines is one of Mike's harshest critics, especially as an owner. Michael hasn't done as well as an owner. But I thought that the way that Michael was able to put that team and put his teams on his shoulders, I really haven't seen anything like that since Michael retired. And we know that I know Abdul Gaines' ears must be coming from them right now. But as much as Kobe, and rest in peace, Kobe, as much as Kobe modeled his game after Michael's, because Abdul Gaines, you got to admit, Kobe did model his game after Michael's. The walk, the wristband, the talk about being in a rhythm, all that modeled after Mike. There was something about the way Michael put the team on his shoulders and rallied the team and, against superior opponents. In that season, Cleveland had beaten the Chicago Bulls all season, and Cleveland's team was loaded. They had Mark Price, Ron Harper, Brad Daugherty. You see Brad Daugherty right there, also a North Carolina alum. Number 22, Larry Nance. They had Hot Rod John Williams. So Cleveland was loaded, and they had the superior team that entire season. But Michael played at a level, and Scotty was coming up too, but Michael played at a level in that quarterfinal. And Cleveland was nicked up as well. But Michael played at a level that lifted the Bulls up over them. And then in the next round, they were able to knock off Rick Pitino's New York Knicks, en route to that showdown, that first conference final showdown with the Detroit Pistons. Let's see, I'm going to look at the chat here. So Kareem is predicting that the Bucks will win that Eastern Conference final. So, Kareem, who do you think is going to win in the West? I mean, I'm sure everybody's picking the Suns to win at this point, especially now that they're up 3-1. Who are you picking to win in the West? Anybody? Okay. Well, I'm going to assume. Okay, Bucks. Okay. Well, let's see. What else? With the 5 minutes that are left, because I'm going to go ahead and shut this down and go and do something else. But that's where we are, guys. So Phoenix is up 3-1. The Bucks and the Hawks are tied 1-1, and it's going back to Atlanta. And let's see what happens. So I am going to go ahead and shut this one down. And perhaps when the NBA finals start, or maybe even when they conclude, I'll do another one of these. I was going to do this yesterday, but yeah, I had done a science stream over on my science channel, and afterwards I was pretty much wiped out. So I decided to push the stream off to today. So I will probably look to do another one once the conference finals start, or after the 2021 NBA champion is crowned. So I am going to, it looks like my connection is stable now. I'm going to restart my camera to see what this looks like. Okay. It always looks good on StreamYard, but let me take a look on YouTube. And of course, there's always a bit of a delay, a bit of a lag between StreamYard and YouTube. Yeah, that looks better. That looks clear. Definitely gonna have to troubleshoot this. Okay, yeah, now it's trying to, anyway. All right, guys, if you want to throw something in the tip jar, that information is below this video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, if you came over from my original channel, please subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.